Yo, yo, yo! What's going on, great people and all of the great land? It's your guy, Nicholas Wilcox. It's your guy, the one and only, Johnny Lane. Johnny, say what's up to the great people.
Happy Scott Fish Bowl playoff week if you were lucky enough to make it. But it's week 12. I'm pumped. We're getting closer and closer to the playoffs. Every week matters a little bit more now, man. So I'm pretty pumped for this week for sure. So can't wait to see how things shake out. I'm feeling kind of good this week, man. First time in a while I've been feeling this good, actually.
Kind of good or kind of great, man?
Oh, man, kind of good. Got to go into it being cautiously optimistic, cautiously optimistic. So that's the way I'm feeling today, is cautiously optimistic.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
All right. Yeah. Listen. There's a couple things I can't do. I can't say that everything is going to go great for me in the fantasy space, because when I do, it doesn't. I refuse to put negative energy out there, so that's why I said cautiously optimistic is how I'm feeling today. So cautiously optimistic with all things. So
that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, here we are, folks. Week 12. We're getting ready into it. We got your DFS. We're gonna go over that. Obviously, got your props from yours truly. We got the bets for anything over under, stuff like that. We're gonna go over, and of course, any last minute start sit questions you got, drop them in the chat. If your first time in here, please like and subscribe to the channels. Feel free to follow us on the X platforms, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Spotify. We all here for you. So without further ado, gonna break down the first game. It's gonna be one of the games that are gonna probably implicate things down the road, and that's the Colts going to the Chiefs. Colts with 8-2 record, Chiefs a 5-5 record. Colts are the underdog at +3.5 currently. It might have changed a little bit before we got on here.
What'd you say they were?
The Colts are 3.5 underdog.
Still there. Yeah, still 3.5. Yeah.
Okay. Because sometimes, again, we get on here and then things change. So, but yeah, Colts going into Kansas City. This is a big spot for them in terms of potentially still taking, in the race for the number 1 seed in the AFC, and the Chiefs desperate for a win in this spot, because knowing if they lose in this spot really puts them behind the 8 ball for a playoff spot in general. Over under 50.5. Johnny, break down how you see this game unfolding.
I would say that, this is a spot where, like, we would always say, like, the Chiefs are always going to find a way to win. But so far this year, 0-5 in one-score games in the NFL. So, like, that is not what they did last year. I think there's a lot of parts to this game. And I think obviously it's going to be a really good game, like a really good real life game. And I think obviously from the fantasy side of things too, I think there's definitely some opportunities for the Chiefs pass catchers specifically here in this space. I know the record says 8-2 for the Colts, and for the Chiefs it says 5-5. But golly, man, like, Daniel Jones is a guy that, like, for as much as, he's had success this season, and obviously the Colts are winning games, like, you got to think going into Arrowhead, which has been like one of the toughest places to play traditionally, for any team in the NFL, unless your name is Joey B. It's you can't not pick the Chiefs, right? Like, you gotta take the Chiefs at 5-5, man. Like, with everything on the line for these guys, I can't find a space where I can convince myself that the Indianapolis Colts walk into Arrowhead, beat the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs now have a losing record. I can't make myself say that, even with all the things that, like, they've done as far as the Indianapolis Colts. We know what Jonathan Taylor's doing right now. Actually, I believe I was looking yesterday. He's way ahead of pace of the last running back to win MVP, which was Adrian Peterson. And I think at this point, Adrian Peterson had 9 rushing touchdowns or 9 total touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor, I believe, don't quote me, but I feel like he has 17 touchdowns right now, if I'm not mistaken. And that's just sheer insanity. With that being the case, if that's what it is, or maybe that's where he was projected to be at. But I mean, if you just even look at the Chiefs, man, right? The last couple of games that they've lost, they lost to the Buffalo Bills 21-28. They lost to the Broncos 19-22. But then even going back to week 6, they handled up on the Detroit Lions, man. I'm just gonna. This is a long-winded way. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor has 15 rushing touchdowns. So yeah, 17 touchdowns is where he's at. So I'm gonna go with the Chiefs in this space, man, and then I'll hit the DFS side of it real quick, and then I'll give it right back to you, man. But like right now, it looks like we had a couple things update, but I'm playing on FanDuel today, man. That's where my money's at. Is FanDuel. I've been getting my teeth kicked in on DraftKings. So yeah, Rashee Rice is the highest owned guy right now, 24%, which I can totally dig that because I still think even with the addition of Ahmad Gardner, I'm not quite sure how I feel about these Colts DBs still, even in this space. Travis Kelce is coming in at 15%, and Mahomes at 16%. JT is the highest owned Colt. I think there's definitely a lot of opportunity for Travis Kelce specifically. Typically when the Chiefs get in these type of spots where they need wins and, it's a big game, that's typically where you see Travis Kelce at for sure. So I'm all over the Chiefs pass catchers today. I'm playing a lot of them. I'm playing a lot of Mahomes in one tournament specifically. So I'm going to take the Chiefs, man, in this space. As far as from a betting side of things, I think I'm actually even going to take the Chiefs in the points here today. I just feel like this has just got to be, like, they have to get right in this spot, man. If not, then I think we know what the end result is the season's over with.
Love the analysis, my man. This is tough for me.
Yeah, it is.
I'll be real honest. It's tough for me. So say what's up to the people in the chat. Our guy Rob, one and only. Shout out to my guy Rob. Appreciate you coming through. Rick, of course, good morning. Appreciate you as well. Yeah. I just checked the Fans Classic standings. Oh, you did, Rob?
Rob, it's bad, man.
Tell us how that's going, Rob. Tell us what it is. Love to hear about it.
I've lost like 5 in a row.
Colts versus Chiefs. This is a statement game no matter how you look at it, right? We got two teams that on one end are looking to prove that they belong, the Colts. Talking about the Chiefs. Talking about a team that's been around the block. They know if they lose this game, they know it's not going to be the prettiest uphill climb the rest of the way. But there's still hope for them in ways. This comes down to this for me. Chiefs are the worst defense against play action passes. Daniel Jones, 9 yards a clip on play action throws. Who gets benefited the most? Alec Pierce downfield. He, since week 7, has averaged 8.5 targets. Has been literally the deep ball receiver for the Colts. So I guess in this game, on paper, it's very tricky, right? You expect the Chiefs to win this one at home. Give me the Colts and the points. I think the Colts have what it takes. I think they put it all together. The only thing that, for DFS purposes, Jonathan Taylor 10K, that's steep. That's real steep because Jonathan Taylor doesn't catch enough passes to warrant the 10K price for me on DraftKings. But I can understand why people might get there because it's a contrarian move. I expect them to be less than 10% on today on a slate where there's a lot of different running backs to choose from. So you could go there, but understand you're kind of jamming them in versus some other options today. But as far as I think how the Colts can just get there is literally, again, I think they have offensive line to hold things up against the Chiefs pass rush. And literally, again, it's the play action. If the Colts use this script against the Chiefs, because the Chiefs are a top 8 defense against when they're not being thrown on versus play action. So if they don't use play action in this game, I think the Colts are going to definitely be. I'm agree with Johnny. I think that the Chiefs will overall cover, but I think there's a slimmer hope for the Colts here. So I'm going to take the plus 3.5 for the Colts in this spot because again, there's a lot going on here for the Colts that if they belong, they want to belong, they'll show up for this game and they'll potentially win it. So I'm going to go 3.5 for the Colts here. Let's see. He needs at least and that's my whole thing with Jonathan Taylor. Like you need the 3 touchdown game once again for Jonathan Taylor to even remotely considerably paying off his his price tag. So that for me, like you need at least 3 touchdowns and you need over 100 yards for the bonus for DraftKings at least. What do we think about the Steelers Bears? We'll get to that for sure. Because ironically, the next game we're going to talk about. Because the Steelers are getting 2.5 going on the road to Chicago. Steelers 6-4 on the year. Bears 7-3 on the year. Over under right now 45.5. Johnny, take it away, my guy.
Yeah. I think obviously you know what direction I'm going in. I'm showing up, repping it today. This is actually a really ironic game for me. Obviously, been on record for being a Caleb Williams truth, and I think like this game right here is like this is like the best and worst of everything that like I have going on right now. It's the best.
Sounds like my week 12.
It's the best and worst. I mean, I think this is a spot where Caleb Williams could absolutely. If you told me Caleb Williams went, okay, if Caleb Williams went nuclear today, I would 1,000,000%.
We have breaking news.
Subscribe to that for sure. I would subscribe to it. If you told me that the Steelers turned him over 4 times today, I would absolutely subscribe to that as well. I just think that this is a spot where I think the Pittsburgh defense is in a better situation than – whoa, we got some spam going on here.
I know.
In the chat.
That's
love
okay.
it.
That's how you know we're getting up there.
I love it. Mama, I made it. But yeah, I think this is a spot, right, where I think the Steelers could be in a situation where they are able to turn Caleb Williams over today in this game. The one thing that does concern me is definitely the secondary and just, what's happened with them over the last really actually all season. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. All season long, it's been a concern as far as the secondary goes. Rome Odunze, man, even with like the goose eggs and the garbage that he's put up over the last handful of weeks, averaging the 19th most receiving yards per game. Pittsburgh, 32nd in receiving yards per game allowed to wide receivers. Now, if you look at it on the other side, if Rodgers is out from what's being said in the chat, Darnell Washington, man, like this guy is low key. He has been one of Aaron Rodgers' favorite targets. And what is that going to look like with Mason quarterback? I don't know. Yeah, it really is, Rick. It is like, yes, you nailed it right there. It is the Spider-Man meme, yes, of pointing, except for the only difference is I would love to have the Chicago Bears offense versus mine. But yeah, man, if there is no Aaron Rodgers today, yeah, I guess I'm going to go with the Bears and the points.
Ooh.
I'll take the points with the Bears. Like I'm gonna, and a straight up. I'm just gonna, straight up. I'm gonna take Pittsburgh straight up. Yeah, I think the Bears will be like it'll be a close game today, man. It'll be a close.
You mean you're taking the Steelers in the points? They're 2 in there.
I'm thinking their favorite. Why am I looking at this crazy? Yeah, so yeah, I'll take the Steelers in the points. No, thank you. I'm like looking at this. I'm like, oh, the Bears are at home. 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 Like, the Bears are at home. Yes, so give me the Steelers in the points.
We see if the line changed as we're on here right now because of that news. The line may have moved, and it did. So the Steelers are a +3 now. So the Bears are -3 at the moment, according to DraftKings Sports.
All right, so give me the Steelers for sure. Let's do that. Let's do that with the Steelers, and then from a DFS side of things, it's weird. It looks like here today, DeAndre Swift is the highest owned player at 10%, and then Luther Bird. Yeah, and then Luther Burden is showing up. Yeah,
3,600 I think on DraftKings today.
Yeah, I'm looking at FanDuel pricing today. I mean, if you have DraftKings,
basement on FanDuel.
Do what?
Is he basement on FanDuel then? 4,500.
4.7.
That's close.
Yeah, 4.7. I'm playing a little bit of Caleb Williams today.
You should
just because like everything I said, like I think like the Steelers are susceptible to to giving up some yardage for sure. And I'm playing some Rome today. As well, playing a little Swift. DK, I think,
I mean, DJ Moore Day today.
Why would you even put that in the atmosphere? And he's dirt cheap, too. Like, that's the other thing. Like, he's dirt cheap, man. I think he's like, what is he? Yeah, 5,700, man. Like, so, this is going to be a disaster of a game. But, yeah, I'll take the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to put it past Mason Rudolph to not keep these guys in the game today, but there's a lot going against your boys today. Steelers give second most yardage to boundary receivers, and they give up the sixth most to man coverage. They play the sixth most man coverage in the NFL, and are a top 5 pass funnel allowed to pass rate over expected. So the Steelers' pass defense, and obviously your boy Darius Slay, like, is the one that will be targeting a ton in these spots. That's just where the weaknesses go for the Steelers. Obviously, pass rush is going to be there for the Steelers still. Your boy TJ Watt. Cameron Hayward's back today. So there's still a lot to like for the Steelers. It's just more of, obviously, now Mason Rudolph now playing. It's like it throws a wrench in some places. The guy I think will probably go on their own and is in a good spot today for DFS lineups today is DK Metcalf. 5.3K on DraftKings. The Bears actually allow second most most deep yardage to opposing wide receivers to the boundary. And I think Metcalf's in a good spot today for sure to overall take advantage because, look, like Mason Rudolph, what should a backup quarterback do? Similar to Davis Mills, target your number one receiver, and that's DK Metcalf. So, especially with the Bears also playing, they play a lot of man coverage, like I said, as well. And also when the Bears are also a bottom 5 pressure rate for defense. So maybe they bring a little bit more defense now that Mason blitz, now that Mason Rudolph is starting. But this does benefit Metcalf as well. So I do like the spot for Metcalf. It's pretty sneaky at 5,300 in a range where on DraftKings at least, where it's, definitely, there's some guys you can play in that range, maybe not. Like Wandell is going to be really popular today, but there's going to be other plays as well in that range. So I don't mind taking Metcalf. As far as the game goes, I think I'm going to take the Bears to cover. I think Caleb Williams, he hasn't had since a couple weeks ago, he had that crazy breakout against Cincinnati Bengals. I think he's definitely in a prime spot today as well to have that same performance because of obviously the weapons that he has on offense. And, again, I don't expect his ownership. Like you said, Swift is the highest owned guy in this spot today. I think that might be a little bit of a mistake because I do think Caleb Williams could be a guy that, even against pressure, Caleb Williams has done pretty well against the blitz. So I think in a spot where Caleb Williams 5,700, it's a spot where I think if you're going off of the Brissett today, if you're going off some of the higher end quarterbacks today, I think Caleb Williams is going to go overlooked for sure. In this spot. So, give me the Bears, the points, and the over. Moving on, Patriots, Bengals. Joe Burrow is not playing today. Patriots are a 7.5 fave going into Cincy. Over under right now, 49.5. For this game in general, right? This is literally, even if Burrow was playing today, it's like the Bengals, let's just be honest. The Bengals weren't going to be really in a place to really pursue the playoffs. And now I'm really curious because, what Burrow is going to, when he comes back, because he's supposed to be coming back next week or whatever, at least to play. Kind of curious how this is all going to shape out, in my opinion. So both teams in this spot are top 6 in pass rate over expected. So we can expect a ton of usage when it comes to both offenses. Obviously, no Jamar Chase today, so guess who gets benefited the most? We're looking at T. Higgins in this spot, 7,100 on DraftKings. Pretty much a lock for me here, even against Christian Gonzalez. I still like the spot for Higgins because he should get peppered. He should be the Jamar Chase, S version. He should get at least double-digit targets at the very least. And when it comes down to it, there's other pieces in this offense like Chase Brown, stuff like that. The tight ends, Gesicki is back today for Cincinnati. So there could be Noah Fant, Gesicki, action going on. But I do like Higgins 7,100 on DraftKings. It's pretty much a lock for me everywhere. He's just a bit too cheap. He should literally be 8K today on this slate. Obviously, not Jamar Chase. As far as the New England side of things go, New England when it comes to we got breaking news. Breaking news. Josh Jacobs out today. So A. Wilson, lock him up everywhere, 5,300, pretty much a free square. In terms of how New England side of things go, New England still likes to throw in the second half. So they are second in pass rate over expected when leading in the second half. When it comes down to it. So New England likes to, still be aggressive even in these spots. So if Cincinnati's going to give them any type of push on the other side, we could easily say this over go, and we could easily see a big shootout happening. Obviously, Flacco, what I'm saying, he ain't scared to throw. As long as he's held up right, obviously. But New England's pass rush can still potentially get there. But in terms of how, obviously Stevenson's here today, along with Henderson, stuff like that. So we'll see. I know Stevenson's come off this turf toe injury, so we'll see how much usage he gets. I know he's like 5,200 on DraftKings today, so that could be a spot where if you want to get a little bit different, want to get away from the Henderson chalk-ish, he's 6,700. So the pricing on this situation is like, they priced this pretty nicely, whatever. Because if you do go with Henderson and he goes off. But but Stevenson somehow gets 2 touchdowns or whatever, he easily pays off his price tag. Obviously, Cincinnati's run defense is the worst in the league. So that's where obviously, pick your poison in terms of which kind of guy you kind of want to go with. If you think Stevenson's going to go under-owned and underappreciated, he could still have a way and a path to get there. Lastly, I'll say is that the Bengals, they love allowing offenses to check down. So the Bengals defense allow the fourth most receptions, 10 yards or under. So I expect Stephon Diggs to be peppered today. I expect Hunter Henry potentially have a nice game today because Cincinnati can't stop tight ends as well. So this is a spot where double stack for New England pretty easily with a bring back of Higgins. If you want to do that, I have no problem with you doing that. If you want to do that, if you really like this game, you want to bring Chase Brown in this stack, I think you get different with that too. So there's a lot of ways you can still go with this for this game. So as far as the game goes, give me New England the over. I'll check it down. I'll look to see if I can tease it down to a 7. And take it and then take the over from there. That's what I got. I actually think Chase Brown benefits more than Higgins. It's possible because I know New England also allows a lot of checkdowns to running backs. Going back to the Atlanta game with Bijan Robinson, that was obviously something that transpires. The Jalen Warren stuff like that. So, look, there's definitely totally possible things that happen. Steven, good morning, my guy, for the DMV. And then I'll give it to Johnny. But if you want to answer this question, feel free to do so.
Jalen Warren, Travion Henderson, Wandell. I'm gonna continue to ride the Travion Henderson train, man. I'm gonna continue to ride it. I just think there's I don't want to say there's no way, but golly, dude, you would have to be you would have to be built different to go away from Travion Henderson. You would have to be built different for that. I think obviously Jalen Warren.
Not built for it too.
No. Oh God, Jalen Warren. The volume will be there with him. So I think he's someone that's really obviously he would be the next move for me in that space. And then obviously Wandell, just because of volume in that game. I think a lot of us feel like that game is probably going to get out of hand, but Travion is that's the play, man. That's the play until otherwise at this point for me. I think you look at Cincinnati. I'll kind of echo a couple of things that Nick had said. Pick a stat on defense, and I guarantee you the Cincinnati Bengals are bottom 5 in it. Pick a stat, any stat. Points per game, yards per game, yards given up to receivers, yards given up to receivers per game, passing yards. Pick a stat. And I guarantee you they are a bottom 5 team in that space. So, I feel comfortable with this. I agree with to kind of move forward. I agree with a lot of things that Nick was saying as far as the actual game itself. I do get a little bit worried when ownership numbers start to kind of creep up. Although this year it just seems like chalk has been hitting every single week for sure. Through the Sims and things like that this morning, Drake May was the player that it just seems like you can't get away from in this spot. Whether if you want to go naked Drake May and then, run with some other pass catchers, because that would be my only concern about stacking up a lot of New England players. And I do have some stacks in my builds today. But the one thing with Drake May is that, dude, it could be Austin Hooper. It could be Mac Hollins. It could be, Keyshawn Booty's back today. It could be It could be Kyle Williams on a big play. It could be Ramondre Stevenson. Like, so there's so many different variations, I think, for the Patriots and from a DFS side of things, like when you look at like trying to stack this up. So I think there's that. But I'm definitely playing a lot of Drake May today. I'm definitely playing a lot of Travion Henderson today as well. If you have Ramondre Stevenson in season long, make the move, man. I think I picked him up. I can't even remember. I picked him up in one league this morning. I was just kind of going through, and he was out there. Yeah, maybe it was like the Fans Classic qualifier.
Really?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. It was one of the ones. Yeah, it was one on Sleeper. And I just I went and picked him up.
Out there? That's crazy.
Yeah, I can't. You're gonna make me go look at it here. I'm gonna go look at it after I get done here. But yeah, so I'm definitely doing that. And then like the other thing, just real quick too, to call out is talked about T. Higgins. He's had 5 games without Jamar Chase. In the first 2 games with Jamar Chase, there was no production there. And this was back in 2022 against the Browns and the Panthers, 40 yards, 69 yards. Now, ironically enough, 2022, the Pittsburgh Steelers, he had 13 targets, 148 yards. This is in 2022 now. Right. And then also in 2022, ironically enough, guess who the other team was? The Tennessee Titans, coached by Mike Vrabel at the time, 114 yards, 7 catches, and 1 reception. Just kind of to keep that in perspective for things. And then Pittsburgh, which again, they're not as bad as Cincinnati, but they're not as good as your favorite team. So for me, I think the chalk of the day is Chase Brown. And I've been trying to justify playing him against a very, very stout New England defense. And the one thing I will say on DraftKings is you mentioned the reception side of things, because there have been a lot of running backs that have had 5 catches or more against them. Haven't done a lot in the yardage side of things, but Dylan Sampson, Jaylen Warren, Tony Pollard, Kamara, Bijan, and your guy Devon Achane. So I think there is a space where Chase Brown maybe, but I don't know if I believe on FanDuel for sure. I don't know if I believe projected ownership 32% Chase Brown.
What's his FanDuel price?
His FanDuel price is $6,900. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough because there's a path that it can happen, but there's also a path too that we've seen with Cincinnati when
it won't get there unless he gets the receiving volume.
Well, it's not even just the receiving side of things too, but there's been times too with Cincinnati where things haven't went well with him and they've started to play other backs. So I just think it's a real risky move. I'm playing him, but I'm not gonna intentionally go over the field and have him be the chalkiest player for me, in that space on FanDuel for him at 6,900.
So Chase Brown or Kenneth Walker today?
Oh gosh, man. Oh.
Walker is expected to suit up. So
yeah, I know he's expected to suit up, and I liked him last week, man. And Tennessee.
This week.
Well, I mean, I liked him last week, and I played him last week. I didn't have a problem with it. I just the Titans, and we can talk about that later too. But the Titans they're not as bad as you think against the run, but they're also obviously the worst team in the NFL. So there's a lot of
game script wise, yeah.
But either way, I'm looking at some of the more inexpensive pass catchers for Cincinnati, right? Because I think you have your boy Yoshevich, you got him. You have him, man. One guy that I know a lot of dynasty people have been talking about is Mitch Tinsley. So does he get an opportunity to play? Yeah. Is he a dart throw, right? At an inexpensive price to run a game stack here. So I think there's just a lot of different options you can use with Cincinnati, for run back. I like T. Higgins today. I got off of that, but I think there's also some other options inexpensive wise for Cincinnati to be able to kind of make this a viable game stack if you go there. And if not, you can obviously throw some darts in there. Taking the Pats, no question today.
Okay. Sounds good. Of course, the over too, right?
I almost bro, I can't even tell you. I could probably count on my one hand the number of times I've probably messed with over unders, man. I just
I get it.
Not my game.
Gotta choose something.
Yeah.
That is what it is. All right. So Jets Ravens. Here we go. Favorite time of the day. Jets going into Baltimore. Jets are a 13.5 point underdog. pretty much season's over for the Jets. For the Ravens, they need to keep on winning to keep on pace for the AFC North Division. In this spot, there's a couple of things you'll like in terms of DFS purposes, in terms of just from a betting side of things. Ravens have a 29-point implied total today. So that's something to keep watch for. Henry, we called him. Well, I called him last week in terms of what I saw, and he had 5.7 yards per carry against Cleveland last week. He's 7,600 on DraftKings. You could definitely go back to him in this spot. He's not like my lock, but he's someone that I could prioritize today because I doubt. I mean, I don't know how the ownership is going to be in terms of Henry right now. Johnny will give me info on that. But I think in this spot for Derrick Henry, where Saquon's also, I think, 100 less, 7,500 on DraftKings, it's just a spot where I don't think another spot where I think people aren't going to exactly go to or back to. But again, he did this against Cleveland last week, a really stouted run defense. Now you're facing the Jets defense that is literally abysmal. And literally without Quinn Williams, and linebackers are solid for the Jets, but it's also like, hey, like these guys can get ran upon easily. And, you know, you're at home, double-digit favorite. Everything lines up for Henry in this spot. So I would not, I would look to see if you can find a way to get creatively, get him in your lineups. Also, this stat that I looked up. So Henry is second in the NFL in fantasy points per snap over the last 3 seasons when leading. So in this spot, I think Derrick Henry could easily surpass 3x, 3.5x or more for your lineups today. So obviously give me Baltimore in the spot. I think it comes down to this is a similar spot for the Jets in New England last week, where there was pretty much a double-digit underdog and New England barely covered this. I think the Jets can make things interesting with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback. And if you're feeling really risky, Tyrod Taylor 4,300 on DraftKings makes a ton of sense because he can easily get you 4x, 16 points. Him running around and stuff like that and being decent with the ball. I may or may not go there. We'll see. But I think for the ultimate cheap on the week, Tyrod Taylor makes some sense. But I'll say this, like Lamar Jackson, like I need him to give me a game that he's actually healthy. It feels like even the 4-touchdown game from a couple weeks ago, it just felt like he still isn't like all the way Lamar yet. So waiting on that. Of course, this will be the week where he gets over his rushing prop easily. I'm not betting it this week. But that being said, Baltimore easily in this spot. I'm not touching the points. Give me the money line there. The over-under is where it gets interesting. I'm going to take the slight under. I think ideally this line should probably be more 41.5. But I'm going to take the under here, expecting the Ravens to probably get very close to their implied total. But that's about it. Johnny, what you got for us, man?
Oh, yeah, this is
Yeah,
it's definitely Baltimore. Like, there's no doubt on that.
If you stack Tyrod Taylor with 2 pass catchers, you can fit everything. You ain't wrong about that. Adonai Mitchell is 3,200 today, and that's something I think people will definitely go to. But can Adonai Mitchell catch the ball? And then Marlon Humphrey's back? I don't know about that, but everyone's up.
This is one of those spots where I don't want to say it's one of my favorite spots, but it's one of the things that I've definitely been more aware of than not. And we'll see. I think today, we'll see about the Jets and just overall morale and belief, et cetera, offensively. All right. Cause we got the vaunted quarterback change happening with Tyrod for sure today. So we should see how that goes. As far as Lamar Jackson goes, man, I've been saying it since, the Miami game on Thursday night. He's not healthy. He's not all the way there. He's not running around. You could see then that he's back. And I think you see this with some of the players, a majority of players, right? They come back and they probably are back a little bit too early and they can still go out there and Lamar Jackson at 75% is better than a substantial amount of quarterbacks in the NFL. For sure. Better than Mason Rudolph. So so I think like that's where they're at. I think like with Derrick Henry, like you mentioned, his fantasy points like per snap went up. That is actually it's actually kind of ironic you bring that up. That was one of the things like I was looking at a couple of weeks ago. It was not just like the fantasy points like per snap, but just really just looking at him in the second half of games. Because traditionally, like we're starting to like turn the corner when running backs start to kind of ramp up a little bit more. So you're starting to see that. Well, you should start to see that here a little bit sooner than later. But I just think with Derrick Henry, like the one thing that has unequivocally been missing has been the explosive big plays, the explosive big runs is what has absolutely has been missing.
That's what's going to happen today, right?
I mean, I don't mind playing Derrick Henry today. I totally don't. Like I'm playing him in some spaces again. Like he's just a guy that like I'm not like overly comfortable getting like over the field on because I feel like that is a huge investment to be like, okay, like today's the day. I think there are some other players for me that I do feel better about in that space. One guy that I do feel really good about, and I think like he's going to be less owned, I think is Saquon Barkley. So like for me to see like Derrick Henry at like a 17% ownership, or projected 17, I'm cool with playing him around 12 to 15%. You know what I mean? Like in a GPP format. So like I don't hate the play. I'm not playing him. I just think that obviously I think we both know like he's very touchdown dependent. And if he gets the touchdown or 2 touchdowns and 80 yards, that makes for a very, very, very solid day. I do think there are some other interesting ways around this game. If you're just looking to get different, just overall, I think Zay Flowers, because I expect today, honestly, and like I know the Jets play like a lot of man, and Lamar hasn't been like a man killer per se, but like as you mentioned it, this would be the day that like his rushing prop would hit because the Jets play a lot of man. So like that would make sense for this to happen today. But I look at somebody like Zay Flowers today, and like you talk about like a lot of the receivers and a lot of the receiving options. I don't mind getting to him today. His projected ownership is going to be at like 14% is where it's going to be. That's a little bit high for my liking. I'm probably going to be right around like that.
You love Zay Flowers, though. What are you talking about?
Yeah, like I said, man, one of the signs of maturity and growth for me is just not hating players. That's a sign of growth and maturity for me. So I am not hating him at this point, and I am. Okay. I'll play him today in a space where like I think Lamar, if he does throw for 3 touchdowns and 225 yards or so, I would expect, Zay to be a part of that. The Jets, Breece Hall, maybe. That's really the only show in town, right? Like that's the only show in town, and like yeah, like that's exactly what I want. That's what I want right there in GPP. Is I kind of want that shrug, like nah, kind of. But like he's the only show in town, right? So if he's the only show in town, maybe they find some ways creatively to get him the ball in space. I think like
6,100 on a slate where I would say now I get it from an ownership perspective, like for Breece Hall today, like that's contrarian, but it's like unless we're gonna get the Breece Hall show where it's like Tyrod just dunking it to him, I can see a scenario like that. That's what you'll have to have today for Breece Hall in order for him to really get there. Because 6,100 is not like it's not like a gimme price. If it was like 57, say 5,600, whatever, I understand that. But you're right. Definitely contrarian today.
Yeah, it's a contrarian play, right? And like, again, like talking about FanDuel, when you look at like, the players that are around him in that price range, obviously we have Travion, which I think like I just planted my flag saying like I would absolutely prefer him. Over, a lot of guys today. He's actually, I've got him, in my lineups around 20 to 25% owned. But if you look at the players that are around him, you got Ashton Genty against Cleveland. You have Breece Hall, obviously, against Baltimore. You have Ken Walker, Tennessee. You have Jalen Warren against Chicago. And then maybe you get to Travis Etienne. So, like, that's in that 7,500 to 7,000 range. So, like, it's not the worst. It's not the best. Like if you're just playing like a leverage play and just trying to find a way to get different, like you can. So for me, like I'm totally like I'm all right with playing him today. But like overall, like I think we know, man, this is a spot like, no way the Ravens lose this game today. They should win this game. And man, you love you some big point spreads, man. That's what else I was going to get to, man. It seems like every week, like you like, there's a couple of games where, they got these big spreads and, you like them. So I don't know. I think the Ravens just traditionally, man, like if they beat teams, like they just beat the brakes off of them. Like, you know what I mean? Like they beat the brakes off of them unmercifully. So I will definitely take the Ravens. And I mean, geez, yeah, man. Like point differential. Jets are 59th in the league, 25th in the NFL. Meanwhile, the Ravens are +1 mid-pack. Yeah, man. I'm just gonna take the Ravens all day long and not even think about it.
And twice on Sunday.
Yeah.
Seahawks getting favored by 12.5 going to Tennessee. Tennessee, abysmal, 1-9. Seahawks, 7-3. Over under 40.5. So not much to talk about in this one, in my opinion. It's Darnold, JSN, it's the running back for Seattle. Like Tennessee, don't really got nothing for you besides injuries. You know, Alec Manor out, Calvin Ridley done for the year. Shaheed DK starting. Van Jefferson's gonna show himself today. Like, the only thing I got for you is that Seattle with Kenneth Walker, if the trend keeps on going. Walker averages 9 yards per carry before contact. The Titans allowed 2.5 yards before contact. So whether it be Walker / Charbonnet, there should be a game where Seattle gets their run game right, hopefully, in this spot. Like you said, I think Tennessee is a sneaky run defense. I just think, though, there's going to be in several scenarios where, especially if Seattle gets out to a big lead early, it's just going to be running the rock. For the Tennessee side of things, I guess it's just going bad for worse. I didn't know it could get worse. But all these injuries now and everything, you're probably going to be looking at 12 personnel, a little bit more for Tennessee today, just because of the receiver injuries. So you might see a little bit more Gunnar Helm today at tight end for Tennessee. So I mean, there's not much to like about Tennessee really. Like maybe Tajay Spears gets a little bit more involved as well. Like because Tony Pollard's just been a mess all year. So yeah, I mean, there's again nothing really else to really say. Really, is just Tennessee hasn't even given us any type of a push, really, like in terms of like a competitive offensive game, almost like all year. So Seattle, I mean, I'm not taking the points because I just no. So you could take it easily, but I'm just not going to go there. The over under 40.5. Probably see that over before the half, so I'll probably take the over here. 40.5. Like I think Seattle could easily get 30 points here, potentially more. But again, we've seen spots where road teams go east, and all of a sudden, like the Chargers, don't show up. So there's a lot of possibility for that too. What you guys say, John? Hey.
Yep. JSN, and a lot of JSN, I think, is what you're going to get today. Yeah, like I could totally see that. Like, totally see that. Again, like, talked about it last week when the Titans and the Texans played. The Titans are averaging the least amount of points in the NFL. And the Seahawks, they can put up some points. And also, too, like, they are very good defensively for sure. A bounce back spot, obviously, in a big game from last week. So, like, I just think, like, to the point, I think, like, there's not a lot of ways I can see Tennessee competing in this game or, even winning this game for sure. Like, that was, and then, you're talking about Ken Walker. Like, I'm playing him in my season-long leagues, but, like, I just feel like this is a prime spot for everybody and their mom talking about Ken Walker. Like, oh my God, he's back. Like, let's give it up for Ken Walker. Yeah. And all of a sudden you're going to get, Zach Charbonnet or, Burner running the, tush push or some shit. Like, something stupid is going to happen today with the running back situation, because it just seems like Ken Walker, every time he's very chalky, whether it's, Jack Daniel barbecue sauce chalk or whatever, it just don't go, man. And so, like,
Sweet Baby Ray's?
No Sweet Baby Ray's, man. No, man. This is, like the lemon pepper chalk, that's Chase Brown. But like, I I can't make myself go all the way there. And then like two, like just to be able to pay down and like get to different players, I think is really like substantial. When you look at like the Ken Walker situation with Charbonnet, you know, you can on FanDuel, you can pay $1,000 more and move down to him. All right, like cool. Like, you know, Charbonnet is going to play. Like, you know, he's going to play. So like, it's not like this is Ken Walker's backfield completely all together. Like
4,900,
like
on DraftKings.
Right, you're like, again, I'm not playing on DraftKings today. I'm talking about FanDuel and Charbonnet. What's his price on DraftKings?
4,900.
Charbonnet and Walker's 49 as well.
Walker 5,400. Walker 5,400.
I mean, would I play Walker on DraftKings? Yeah, of course I'd play him for sure. But again, like it's not enough conviction for me to say that like Charbonnet is not gonna play. You know what I mean? Right, it's not like they can say all day long that like, and the guy's freaking carrying a freaking injury tag going into the game too, man. Like, what? Come on, guys, come on. Like, you know, so I think like there's that for me. And then like you mentioned Tajay Spears, like he's somebody like each week, you know, I try to, as you know, you're trying to get some of the higher price players into your lineup, kind of looking down to kind of see like, all right, where are some places that you can kind of get into? Tajay Spears is a guy that like you can get into. I'm pretty sure he either out snapped or had more carries than Pollard last week. Talked about Pollard's gross stats last week. I think, you know, the highest he's been is like running back 16 or something like that right there, maybe running back 14 all year long. So like hasn't been bringing a lot to it. We talked about him. He actually made the segment we were talking about pass catching running backs from New England. Had like 5 catches, didn't really do anything with it. So I just think Spears is like a nice run back piece if you were going to try to stack this game up. But I mean, it's at 40.5. But even if not, he's a nice piece on FanDuel specifically to put into your lineups where you could get maybe, you know, 7-8 points, and maybe he finds the end zone in some garbage time or something like that right there. Yeah. So like, I totally don't hate that. And then like I said,
like 4,700 for Spears on DraftKings.
Yeah. Like I think he's just a nice piece, just overall, man. So I'm starting the segment with JSN. I'm leaving the segment with JSN. JSN is leading the league in damn near every receiver statistical category. Tennessee is 30th in receiving yards per game allowed to wide receiver. JSN, baby.
9K on DraftKings. Yep.
Yeah.
Hey. Yep. If you have the conviction. We missed a question. So Trey Tucker, Rashid Shaheed, non-PPR need more upside for this one. So we're not playing safe here.
Yeah. I don't mind Trey Tucker. Like I don't mind him. Like I think if anything, I think he'll be on the field more than Shaheed will. I think we've all kind of expected Shaheed to get more work than he actually has so far with the Seahawks. But again, like the stat I just threw out about the Titans secondary, like that's a really great place to go to. If you need something there as far as receivers go. But then like obviously you flip it over and you look at Trey Tucker. Like Trey Tucker, he's on the field and he's going to get work, man. Like he's been getting work. He's been getting the ball thrown to him in a lot of different spaces.
Targets last week for Trey Tucker, yeah.
Yeah, so like, thank you. So like, like it's one of those situations where, I mean, I'm not gonna say it with like conviction because I think one of them is like a statistical matchup for Shaheed, but to the point that we talked about, like if this game gets out of hand at the end of the first quarter, then like you got nothing. But like Shaheed also could end up with 5 catches for 168 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Part of the reason why.
Yeah, exactly. But meanwhile, while Trey Tucker, like no matter how this game shakes out for Vegas, he's going to be on the field and they're going to be trying to get him the ball. So I think as I'm talking through all of this out loud, I think I'm going to say Trey Tucker. And the only reason why is just because of opportunity. And game. So yeah, I would play Trey Tucker.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with that. I like Shaheed. I wish he was going to be in a projected game environment where it'll be a little bit more of a back and forth. And that's where I kind of like Shaheed. But I'm agreeing with you and Trey Tucker. Like 8 targets this past week. I know it's going to be a crap game between them and Cleveland. Basically, what defense can be a little bit better this week.
Right.
But I think Trey Tucker could still get the volume necessary to at least get you close to getting the probability of him scoring a touchdown is a little bit better in this scenario. But again, Shaheed could easily pop off that first quarter with a big long touchdown, and we're all looking like fools here. You so you should have started Trey Tucker.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah,
Trying to get
man.
me best
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, like that's who I'd be playing. So, you know,
right. So
yeah.
we'll be burned by all of them. So, so next game we got. I have to update the line because it changed on us because of the Josh Jacob injury. Let's get right into it. It's the Vikings and the Packers. Currently the line now, Vikings are now getting 6.5 now. Heading into Lambeau Field, take on Green Bay without Josh Jacobs in this matchup. So yeah, Vikings 4-6 in the year, Packers 6-3 and a tie on the year. Over under 41.5. What do you like about this game, Johnny, overall?
What do I like about this game? I like Christian Watson. I like Romeo Doubs is what I like about this game. I know now, obviously, DFS wise, that's all I'm talking about, and that's all I'm thinking about. I think
okay.
Yeah, like
so people shouldn't be starting Mayo Wilson. Their season.
No, I was gonna get to him. I don't mind that. I think it's not a bad chalk play. I think now that we know definitively what the status is. I think now that's obviously a thing, but that's I don't want to say it's common knowledge, but it should be common knowledge now, at this point. I think too, with the Vikings, obviously, man, they're still not a bad football team, right? They have not gotten really good quarterback play. And that's what the crux of their problem, has been, is that right there. So I think this is a game where it's, I think 41.5 is probably pretty accurate as far as what you would be thinking from a points perspective. There are a lot of narratives in this game, for sure. Obviously, there's the Aaron Jones returning to Lambeau narrative, which I'm playing some Aaron Jones today because I think there's something there, man. I think there's something there. I truly do, right? And then the other part of this too, right? As we continue to talk through this, is the Packers have been accused of being frauds all year long.
Yep.
They have been accused of being frauds all year long.
All year long.
And if there is a spot where there's a 4-6 team in a division game on the road with arguably their best player not playing on the other side of the Green Bay Packers, and there's a chance for an upset, I'm not saying it's going to be an upset, but I'm just giving you all the reasons why I think this game could be everything that people think it's not going to be. And in that same space, you have to wonder, does Wilson become a part of that narrative of everything that we think this game is not? And I think there's obviously there's the other part of it too. Again, looking at it from a FanDuel side of things, not on DraftKings. So you'll have to keep me honest here, but looking at him, in this space at 6,500, I like David Montgomery today, in a game that I think I was kind of doing some, not to go to that game, but just doing some independent research of it. Typically when Montgomery doesn't get a lot of carries the next week, they find a way to overly get him involved in that space. You move down to a guy like Kareem Hunt at 6,400. Again, I'm not saying that I like these guys over Wilson or anything in that space. I'm just simply just trying to put it out there for everybody. If you told me Kareem Hunt found his way into the end zone 2 times, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if you told me that. And I think that's kind of been one of the narratives for the Kansas City Chiefs and that group. But going back to the Minnesota game and the Green Bay game, I do like Christian Watson.
Montgomery, Kareem, huh?
Yeah, because they're in the same price range, right? And I told you, I'm in the DFS space, right? So why would I not be over the field, or why would I be over the field with Wilson? That's why I wouldn't be over the field with Wilson. Mm-hmm. Why I would be over the field with Wilson is obviously he should be the primary ball carrier in this space. But I think we know just because you're designated as the primary ball carrier doesn't necessarily mean it. I'm playing him. But even before all this stuff, man, I really did like the Packers pass catchers in this space. And then Justin Jefferson, I'll hit on him super quick, and then I'll give it to you. Justin Jefferson still has not had a 100-yard receiving game since week 5. And that's scary. And it's frustrating because I'm a Justin Jefferson owner as well. I've got Justin Jefferson in a few spots.
It's talent, yo, literally.
It is, right? But I think, like, again, like, as the season progresses, right, and like they get like, I think this has been as bad as it's gonna get. I don't think it can get
I
much.
hope so.
I don't think it can get much. Like, I mean, it can't get much worse than this, bro.
Much worse than this, right?
Like, it can't get much worse than this. You know what I mean?
Right?
It can't get much worse than this, man. Oh, man. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm gonna take the Packers to win, and like in my pool or whatever that I have. Sure. But I honestly believe the Vikings will find a way to be able to keep this game close today. At 6.5.
Okay. Yeah. I think I'm in alignment with that. I think Green Bay. So looking at this overall, right? Like Vikings, we know the most blitz heavy team in the NFL. Love against pressure, not good. Love without pressure leads the NFL in completion rate. So like Love is great when he is not under pressure. But we all know that the pressure is going to be coming in this spot. So it remains to be seen how Jordan Love is going to respond to that. Hopefully he responds in a bounce back way. But again, for Christian Watson, this spot also is not the best for him because of the too high looks in this spot as well. But I mean, look, Vikings, like the Packers can also be ran on. You know, say Michael Parsons and these guys, like Michael Parsons is obviously a threat, but they could be run on these. It could be run on. The last 3 games, right? Rushing yards allowed. Giants had 142 rush yards. Carolina, 163 rush yards. Philadelphia, 111. So these guys can be ran on. So if you have Jordan Mason as well, I think it's also a decent spot for him as well. If you're in a pinch, stuff like that for your season longs today. This could be a spot where they could be ran upon as well outside of Aaron Jones as well. So, I mean, look, I think both these guys could potentially come and give you some type of value today. Like I said, if you're in a pinch for season longs. In terms of how we see this game, give me the Vikings plus 6.5 because I think that with the pressure and, again, all you really got right now is Christian Watson on the boundary, Romeo Dobbs. Like, you don't have Tucker Kraft, obviously. Like, you don't have Josh Jacobs today. So, yeah, like, you can give me the Vikings plus 6.5. I think it can make things interesting. The problem, obviously, will be, can J.J. McCarthy give us a decent showing? We're not asking for you to throw for 300 passing yards today. That'd be nice, especially if Justin Jefferson finally get him on track today. Talk about contrarian. The ultimate contrarian play today is Justin Jefferson. Like, the ultimate play today. Like, elite, like, guy that I'm like, okay, like, one of these weeks where it goes wacky and crazy, Justin Jefferson goes like 8% owned or something today at 7,400 in the Millie Maker, and he wins people the Millie Maker today.
Bro, listen, like he literally is 2% owned on FanDuel.
Might play him today.
Literally.
I might have to follow my own advice.
2% owned today, bro.
I'm smelling my own gas.
Like, yeah, again, like within the realm of possibility.
If not now, then when?
Bro, like you're gonna talk me right. You're gonna talk me into another lineup. I'm talked myself into it, and you've talked me into another lineup here before.
There you go. Yep, and Tajay Spears, both of them.
I got Tajay Spears in a bunch of lineups. Jets. I don't got a ton of Jets. I don't got a lot of Jets today.
No, I don't think so. We're not going that far.
No.
Next game. Speaking of Montgomery, Giants 12.5 point underdogs going to Detroit. Take on the Lions. 50.5 over under. We have in the spot the last game of the 1:00 slate. And we got our boy Haywood in the chat. Yo, what up?
What up,
yep.
Man?
Your favorite fantasy football homeboys in the chat. Yo, what up? Yeah, bro. Like, looking forward to our show. Hopefully, if Johnny's around, we could get it all going together. But yeah, like Johnny, I see you preaching this morning.
Coffee's hitting. Coffee's hitting, baby.
You said the coffee is hitting? Wait, the coffee doesn't hit all the time?
Listen, you know how much caffeine it takes to wire this body here, okay?
Yeah,
you know how much
I've been on vacation with you.
Yes, you know how much it takes. I'll wake up grumpy.
And Jordan, appreciate you coming in. Please like, subscribe to the channel, my guy, the Fantasy Football Show, Johnny Maribel on YouTube. John O. Maribel on YouTube. But pick 2. Give us the format for this question. Is it half point? Is it full point? Is it obviously season long, or you debating about DFS, guys today, feel free to drop that in the chat, Jordan, so we can give you a better answer and a full answer. As long as the game narrative to them benefit. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the game gets closer. I mean, I don't know. I don't really expect too much Brooks, but I'll say because Emmanuel Wilson was literally the guy after Josh Jacobs left. Pretty much, I think 95% of the carries.
90. It was 90% of the
90. So he was the guy. So I'm not gonna sugarcoat it and not try to tell people hey, not to play and whatever. But that's where 5,300. There's still guys that you can potentially get to that have some sneaky upside for DFS today. So if you want to get if you cash games, you're playing Emmanuel Wilson. GPPs, you get different. And then back to the question I had. So pick 2, Genty, Chase Brown, Sean Tucker. And then that's full point PPR, ESPN, season long league. So Genty, Chase Brown, Sean Tucker. I think Chase Brown for me.
Yeah.
And then that's where I'm going to go Genty. I don't think you can sit him. If you could afford to sit Genty, I think I have to sit him in a league because I have too many running backs, just based on matchup. Yeah. But I think Genty, if you have him, I think you have to start him against Cleveland today. It's not that Cleveland, Cleveland's still a 4-0 run defense. But I think in a game where you're going to need weapons for, the Raiders to stay in this one, I think Genty can find the end zone. I think Sean Tucker is going to find himself in the toughest matchup for run defense this week against the Rams. So there's also Rashad White still here as well. So I think Sean Tucker might be, I don't want to say fool's gold because I know he's talented, but he finds himself in a tough matchup this week against the Rams, Sunday Night Football as well. So give me Chase Brown, give me Genty.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same thing. And I'll tell you, the thing with Genty, for me, the narrative that sticks in my head is appreciate it, man. The narrative that sticks in my head is the 6 rushing attempts for Genty on Monday Night Football. That's just a space where, again, the narrative for me is six rushing attempts. There's, again, crazier shit has happened, but I cannot imagine a world that Ashton Genty comes out today and Pete Carroll does not find a way to get him 15 to 18 rushes today. And Sean Tucker, man, he does it once a year. He does it once a year. You know what I mean? I'm officially actually, you know what? I'm gonna dub him a nickname right now, right here today. Leap year is what I'm gonna dub him. Leap year. That's what I'm gonna dub him.
Leap year.
Yeah, leap year. That's what you're gonna get. Leap year. Because one time, there's gonna be one time where he's absolutely gonna.
One time.
Yeah, one time he's going to break the slate, This one time, Little Giants. Yeah, one time. That's what it is with Sean Tucker. But, yeah, so give me Genty and Chase Brown, man.
Sounds great to me, man. And we appreciate you, Jordan, as well, man. Again, please subscribe to the channel. If you got any other questions, please feel free to drop them. We'll get them in a timely manner. Awa's got a question. He says, pick one.
Oh, boy.
Watson, Dobbs, Parker Washington, and then Pearsall or Godwin for a full point. Now is that all of those guys we pick one, or was the Pearsall Godwin a separate question too? Let us know, Haywood. But I say, let us know if it's separate or not. To the Giants-Lions game we go. I mean, look, no Jackson Dart today. That sucks. That kind of puts a little bit damper, I feel, for the over-under. But obviously the Lions, we know, can put up 30 points at any given moment, especially at home. Jared Goff, I mean, he crushes at home. Literally the better quarterback. One of the best quarterbacks, especially on the slate. Just went out the group. Okay, cool. We'll get to that in a moment. But, Jared Goff, 25 points or better at least, usually at home for fantasy points per average. Again, top 5 quarterback is Jared Goff against man coverage. Giants play a ton of that. And Amon-Ra leads the NFL in targets against man coverage. J-Mo also sees a crazy bump against man coverage as well. So, look, this is a spot where the Lions could be the onslaught. You know what I'm saying? This could be a slot. We talked about a couple weeks ago with the Lions, but this could be an onslaught as well. So, look, this could be, again, the spot. So, Jared Goff, 6K on DraftKings today. Jahmyr Gibbs is up there as well. Obviously, it's a great matchup against the run defense of the Giants. They're still a bottom 10 rush defense against the run. So there's that as well. But look, yeah, I can easily see and envision a scenario where you go Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown with J-Mo Gibbs, or you could switch out Gibbs for Montgomery because Montgomery 5,300 could find himself in a great game script formula where he could steal a touchdown or two and get a ton of carries down the stretch in a game where they gets really out of hand. The other side of things for the Giants, Jameis Winston back at quarterback, obviously, and Darius Slayton back for the Giants this week. So I guess in a scenario where the Giants could find themselves in a situation where they just constantly keep on throwing, Jameis Winston, he wasn't anything crazy special this past week. He still threw an interception. But in terms of how, he looked decent, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like he didn't look like he looked broken or anything like that. So I guess in this spot, I think Jameis Winston can give you, formidable numbers, but I'm not expecting him to go out there and keep this thing as close. I think Detroit knows they got to keep on. It's their time to kind of turn on the gas a bit because they know that the Bears are right there for the division crown right now. Packers are right behind them. And if anything, the Vikings have anything to say about this today against Green Bay today, they find themselves right in the thick of it as well. So they know they have to go out and take care of business. So give me the Lions to cover in this spot. Give me the slight under here because I'm not sure if the Giants can put up 21 points in this spot. What are you saying, Johnny?
All right, so the Lions are top 10 in the NFL with turnover differential, and you got Jameis Winston, Brother Winston, getting ready to start today.
Brother Winston.
Listen, you think I'll be preaching? Listen, I wish I could hold a sermon like that man could. But yeah, I think this is just a spot where I expect Jameson to turn the ball over a couple times. I think, like you mentioned, this is definitely a spot where a big onslaught could be in hand here, right? Amon-Ra is he is the lemon pepper chalk of the week for sure. But there's also a space too where you talked about that, it could be J-Mo, which again, if you kind of just take a look at what's been happening, I'm going to find it here, but if you take a look at what's been happening with Jameson Williams, it's been different since Dan Campbell has started taking over the play calling duty. And he has always been very adamant about his love for Jameson Williams. So literally in the last 3 weeks, wide receiver 19, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 8. So I'm just calling that out because again, a lot of ownership going to Amon-Ra, which rightfully so in a game that's got a 50.5 over under, but there's also room for J-Mo in this spot for sure. And like I had mentioned, man, about I had mentioned it as well about Montgomery just in these spots, right? They needed Jahmyr Gibbs in a big time game against the Eagles. And that's again, that narrative of your big players, your primetime players being in that spot. That's what it was. It's a little bit of a short week, obviously, with the Monday night game for sure. So it might be a way just to maybe to be able to keep Gibbs rested up. And I say rested up, obviously with a grain of salt, because obviously we know he's still gonna get his 15 plus touches in the game. But this is just an absolute smash spot for the Lions for sure. If you still have the Lions available in your survivor pool, great opportunity. Obviously, I think one of the big call outs and one of the big things to keep watching, right, is just how this offense looks without Sam Laporta, is he's now on IR for the rest of the year. That news broke, I think it was sometime in the middle of last week that he was going to be on IR. So, just keeping an eye on that. Jared Goff, again, I really, really love him in this spot too, kind of to the point that you mentioned, his road and away splits are just aggressively so different. And then too, the pass catchers for the Giants, right? This is going to be a spot where we expect them to be down. And I think very similar to Cincinnati-ish in a way where, you can pay down for a lot of the pass catchers for the Giants. Obviously Wan'Dale's going to be very chalky. It looks like Darius Slayton is going to be back upright today. You got Theo Johnson at tight end. So I think there's definitely some ways to be able to do some things. If you decide to go with a full onslaught or even a Goff, running back receiver Goff, Amon-Ra, J-Mo, you can definitely do some things from a price perspective with these guys here. But don't sleep on Detroit's defense. I know they're 5,000 and I personally don't like playing defenses when they're pricey. But like things that have like made slates like incredibly wonky so far this year has been these defenses that have like turned up for 25, 30, 35 points. So like I think the Lions, you could definitely view them in that space. So give me the Lions. And honestly, like I don't mess with big over-unders, and I wouldn't bet this, but I would feel comfortable with it because I just don't think that the Giants even come close to having enough firepower to be able to keep this game close with the Lions, especially too coming off the loss again. Like you talk about like the big spreads, like, and I'll wrap it up super quick. But you talk about the big spreads, like I'm interested in those when the really good teams come off of a close loss, right, or even just a bad loss, like to a really good team. That's when like you want to attack some of these bigger spreads for me. Like that's what I would think, right? Like a team like Seattle, like played against, obviously a really great team in the Rams last week. And then obviously the Lions playing against the Eagles. It's just a great bounce back spot when you see these big spreads. But this is what the third double-digit spread we've seen on the slate so far. So I keep saying that, man. It's making me scary now, man. Making me a little bit shaky.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate the hands we've been dealt, man.
Yeah.
Like the Lions and the points?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. Back to Haywood's question.
Yeah.
He said pick one out of all these guys. Jeez, man.
Yeah, I know that's a mess.
One?
That's a mess, bro.
One?
That's a mess.
One?
Man. That's a mess, Haywood. Good.
How the heck you get yourself in this entanglement?
I can tell you. Wait. I can tell you. I probably went running back heavy or tight end or QB early on. Pearsall maybe in the mid, and this is just me forecasting. Yeah. Pearsall probably when the price tag was going up on him, probably grabbed him there. Followed by Godwin to be able to be like, all right, I got like 2 wide receiver 2s or 3s, Dobbs and Watson like mad laid on, Parker Washington off the waiver wire.
Nice breakdown. I guess out of all of these guys here, who do I like the most?
Yeah.
Hold on.
All right.
Parker Washington. No Brian Thomas today. And I think in a game where we'll get to, actually, we can just segue right into it.
Yeah, we can just go into it. Yeah, let's go to it.
Jags minus
there. Yeah, might as well. Yeah, might as well.
Jags minus 2.5 going on the road to Arizona. Take on the Cardinals, the over under 47.5. My notes of what I was talking about is that it's just funny how it really just naturally segued into that.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Is that when it comes to both of these teams, they are top two they're top 2 offense when it comes to pace, right? Cardinals are second in pass rate over expected. Jags are the most. So in this spot, like definitely like Parker Washington because there's no Brian Thomas. I know Brenton Strange comes back, so that kind of takes away a little bit of the area, gets a little bit more funneled. But I think Jacoby Myers can also be a deep threat for these guys as well today. So I do like Parker Washington to bounce back because he should bounce back in this spot. I know it wasn't the best spot for the last week because, look, like we expected the Chargers to come out and really beat them. The Jaguars came out.
Can we not talk about that again, please?
All right.
If we never revisited that again, I'd be perfectly fine. I'd be perfectly fine if we never revisited that.
It goes to my point that before that game, Parker Washington had at least 7 targets or more. So he was getting peppered. And now, again, O'Brien Thomas should leave Parker Washington to having the most upside, I feel, out of this group just because, like, we don't know what's going on with Ricky Pearsall, really. I don't know what's going on with Chris Godwin. I think the Packers, like, you'll have to expect Watson to at least get a nicer, longer touchdown, whatever. But I think with Minnesota constantly getting pressured, I think that the checkdowns will have to be there for Jordan Love today. So I think Watson could have another big game in this spot. So he'd probably it'd be Watson or Parker Washington for me, but I want to go Parker Washington because I do think that the game script shows up to be a really competitive matchup. And like I said, both of these offenses for Arizona and Jacksonville, they are the leaders in pace right now. So I always like to kind of go that route when I'm kind of in a decision of where do I want to go. But back to this game, obviously McBride, like, thank goodness for freaking Jacoby Brissett. I can't believe I'm saying this, literally, because of Jacoby Brissett. McBride has been unlocked. 24 fantasy points per game since Brissett has been the quarterback. And the Jaguars give up the second most, their second most adjusted to tight ends on the year. So, yeah, I mean, look, this is a spot where this is sneaky for both teams. I expect the over here in this spot. I expect the game that comes probably down to the wire. When it comes down to the Jag side of things, ETN, ETN/2 and get a decent matchup against the Cards. Cardinals are sixth highest when it comes to yards after contact, 2.32. And you just have to overall understand that also with the Jags is like we all know they like to run the football here. I think Tootin is a very sneaky play for DFS today because of he was getting more of that volume last week before he went down with that injury. So it's totally possible for both of these guys to obviously have a day against Arizona. But for DFS purposes, like Tootin is really cheap, and I don't think people will be talking about him enough today. Michael Carter, obviously, same vein. Like, obviously, Zonovan Knight's playing, but 4,400 for Michael Carter on DraftKings today. Like, if we're getting contrarian at the running back spots, like that, these are some ways we can definitely do it in a game that I do think that the pace will be something just to look out for. Because everyone's gonna like Brissett, McBride, obviously Michael Wilson here as well. Michael Wilson gets a great matchup. Jags are a top 4 adjusted matchup to outside boundary receivers. So yeah, like look, Michael Wilson you can easily plug back into today. I'm sure he'll probably be very much owned at 4,800 on DraftKings today. But I feel it's a good chalk play still in this spot for both of these teams. So. Give me the Jags to cover here. I'm starting to believe in them a little bit more after what I just saw last week with the Chargers. Let's see if it sticks. But yeah, I like the Jags here, the over here. And like I said, I think this is a game where I don't think people are going to get to enough of across DFS. So hopefully I'm right on that.
Yeah. Hayward, I'm going to go back and I'm just going to say I'm not going to go Parker Washington. You know you should never ask Nick about Romeo Doubs because he hates Romeo Doubs. So you should have known better than to ask him any question about Romeo Doubs because the answer is always no when it comes always no when it comes to Romeo Doubs. And like the Parker Washington
Okay, 99 out of 100 times it's a
listen.
There's always a one little slither of like
Romeo Doubs is like my Zay Flowers. It's okay.
Yeah,
it's all right. See, it's
only mine's more justified. I love seeing Johnny's face when he does that.
Oh man. So my
nothing to say.
Yeah, I like my only. So Romeo Doubs for me, and I'll tell you why not Parker Washington. Like I know what you're saying, like from the target side of things, right? And like that's obviously how he gets there. But man, like this guy, like he's had these games where this has been a thing, and I've been talking about it like the last couple of weeks. I even talked about it last week. Like against yeah. Like for him, like even like when he had the wide receiver 15 finish in week 10.
Yeah,
it was because of the return touchdown. So, like, if you take that return touchdown out of the equation, like, he kind of falls back into, like, the flexy wide receiver 3 spot. And obviously, like, he did what he did against the Raiders, like, in that spot last week. Like, they didn't need him. I mean, I don't hate it. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm probably playing Parker Washington somewhere in my 22 lineup somewhere. I'm almost positive I am, but like I just like Romeo Doubs like in this space. Like I think like to Nick's point, right? Like if Minnesota's gonna be blitzing, then like the ball's got to come out quick. And I think Romeo Doubs, like I mean it's week 12 now, right? And I think like he's shown like he outside of Tucker, like he's not walking through that door. Doubs is like the most trusted wide receiver there. So Jags and Cardinals games though, man, like you mentioned, like I think like yeah, people are getting to this game for sure, and I think like they're getting to it. Obviously, like I think a lot of this has to do with recency bias. Just because of a lot of the games that like they've been playing in here recently, which obviously was it Dallas and then San Francisco for Arizona. So this is like really like the first like I don't want to say no, it's not the first real test, but like this is the first game where like I'm curious if a team can go back and forth because like and the team that I'm curious if they can go back and forth is Jacksonville. Like I'm curious if they have that punch to go back and forth, right? Like because Jacksonville for all of the things that are going on, like offensively, like their pass catchers, Travis Hunter, Brian Thomas Jr., not here. Like ETN, like it's been very methodical. It's been very methodical. And And I said this, and then last week they went out and absolutely dog walked the Chargers. Yeah. So, like, again, like, I think, like, this is a high. Like, is this a place where, like, they could get caught slipping? Crazy shit happens in the desert. Word to casino, right? And the Hangover. Crazy shit happens out there. So, like, for me, like, I'm looking more towards the Arizona side, like, for sure, as far as, like, pass catchers go. Like, I'm looking, like, to the Jacksonville side as far as the runners. You mentioned Tootin. FanDuel, he's not really sliding by anybody because he is at 5% ownership, expecting him to be at almost 7 by the time kickoff starts. ETN is a guy that, like, I feel the same way. I was like, oh, like, I can get there, and he's $7,000 on FanDuel. So I'm like, all right, like, I can get there. Like, it's not like a real contrarian play, but people aren't, like, knocking each other down to move him to the front of the line as far as, like, running backs that, like, they're going to play today, right?
So I think Black Friday.
What'd you say?
Black Friday move, nigga.
Yeah, no, it ain't no black. No, it's not right. Travis Etienne is not a Black Friday deal. I appreciate that. That was a good one. But then too, like, right, like with the Cardinals, there's so many options for Jacoby, right? Like, obviously, you know, you have Wilson, you have McBride, like, you have Dortch, you have, like, there's even more guys than that as you continue to kind of go through things as far as, like, who he's going to throw the ball to. I do like the Arizona side and this side of things as far as, like, from a DFS side of stuff. And if I'm running it back, man, like, you know, you can run some Brenton Strange at tight end, man, to be able to pay down for things. I mean, hell, even Tim Patrick caught a touchdown last week, man. You know, so that's the other thing. It's like, for me, like, DFS, like, you're paying, Jesus, you're investing in a mid-tier, mid-price quarterback / pass catchers. And I just don't feel comfortable doing that in a space where maybe it only generates 250 yards. And, of course, Trevor Lawrence is going to break the slate today. Trevor Lawrence slate owners, you're welcome. So, like, I'm just like, yeah, I'm more interested in the Arizona side of things for sure. Like, from the ownership side, Michael Wilson is at 19%, Trey McBride, and then Jacoby Myers pops in as the first and the highest owned Jag in this space at 13% on FanDuel. So I don't mind playing Jacoby today. I definitely prefer him over Parker Washington, even though he's priced up a little bit more. So, yeah, and as far as the game goes, bro, I'm gonna go Arizona. They're at home. Yeah, I'm gonna go Arizona. Yeah, I'm like, I don't like. I hate this game. I hate this game from a pick side of things. I hate it.
I hate this game
because it's just not. It's not clear because, like, you could, man, like, okay, 2 minutes and then I'm done. But you could see where Jacoby Brissett could, like, could will his team to this win.
Cook it up, baby.
You could also see where the Jacksonville Jaguars just snuff out Arizona, and there's nothing there. Okay, I changed my mind. I'm going Jacksonville.
Look, I think Jacksonville's defense is very, very underrated. I know, like, from they do allow a ton of yardage, but they are optimistic defense too. So that's definitely something to look out for. So that's why I'm going with Jacksonville as well. So, but yeah, Browns, Raiders, not too much of a game to really talk about here. That being said, let's talk about it. Yeah, that's right. Boo it up. Quickly, I mean, look, you can play both of these defenses today because of how this game should go. I don't imagine that this thing goes crazy over if it does go over at all. But look, I mean, the Browns defense obviously comes into the situation where, I mean, Myles Garrett, like, he is a one-man wrecking ball.
I got a little bit more respect for him now than I did probably 2 or 3 years. A little bit. Listen, bro, you see what it is. I got a little bit more respect for him now.
Oh my goodness, yo! Like, I know he's been a monster. I guess it's one of those things, right? He's always been a beast. He's always been a monster, right? But, like, oh my God, 2 of the last 3 games, he's had at least 4 sacks or more in one game.
That's why I said I got a little bit more respect for him.
It's wild. 15 sacks on the year. But yeah, it's Myles Garrett. But in terms of Cleveland defense, like, Geno Smith, obviously coming into this game, leads the NFL in interceptions. And the Browns have 7 interceptions in the last 4 games. So definitely keep eyes on that. And the Raiders, with Judkins in this spot, like Raiders have allowed a rusher of 70 yards or more in 3 straight games. So this could be a decent spot for Judkins, obviously, in this spot. We have Shador Sanders starting today. So I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing him come out and do something decent. Hopefully to prove the naysayers wrong. I'm glad he's just getting a chance here because it just didn't look like he may not get a chance like at all coming into the year. It just didn't seem like he may get that opportunity, but obviously Dylan Gabriel concussion has offered this opportunity for him. So I hope he goes out and balls out. So I'm taking Cleveland this spot, the points, 3.5. Hoping Shador Sanders comes out and proves people wrong. More of an emotional pick, whatever. A slight over here because I do think this game could get a little bit funky. Special teams return or whatever early on, or quick touchdown from whatever team kind of spice this games up a little bit. So, but yeah, I'm on Cleveland this one. Not really willingly, but I am.
Yeah, not a lot to talk about. So I'll save my words in my breath.
You guys.
Oh man. We've got 2 defenses here that I think like are obviously in play as far as DFS goes. So I think like that's the move. I think you have 2 running backs that are, honestly like in play as well. So I'm cool with that. 1 pass catcher on the Raiders side, Brock Bowers, obviously. He's in play. And then like we don't know about the Browns and their pass catchers. We have no idea like what that's going to be. We have no idea what it's going to be with Shador. I'm going to take the Browns just because I think, like, again, like this game features 2 of the premier pass rushers in the NFL. Like Max Crosby's on the other side, so definitely want to give him his flowers too while we're talking about pass rushers. So, yeah, like I just think that it feels like it should be the Browns in this game. It feels like it should be the Browns. But, like, should it be, though? Should it really be? Because, like, and I want Shador to do well, just like
open to hearing what you have to say.
Yeah, I want him to do well, bro. Like I want him to do well, like not even being about like the Browns, but it's like, geez, man, like it just feels like the Raiders should have more of a functioning offense in this game, even with the Browns on the other side of the ball. But then if you look at the Browns offensively and you're like Shador Sanders versus like, a team, because like in theory, like both of these teams too, like I shouldn't say both of these, but Geno Smith, like he's probably going to be cooked here pretty soon. But like at least if they win some games, like he puts them in a situation where like they have to do something else other than draft a quarterback. So, I mean, one could even go out on a limb and say today that Geno Smith is actually playing for his job. Here, what I mean? Like you can go out, you go out on a limb and say that. So like, I think like, as I say all this shit out loud, I'm going to go with the Raiders today. Just because I just think there's a lot more at stake.
That's fair.
Ugly.
I'm going to go with the hot defense.
Fair too.
Fair. Go hot defense. Again, if you guys are here, we have over 120 people here. Thank you so much. If you're on X, please jump over to the YouTube real quick. Give us a like. If you haven't subscribed, please do so as well. We would greatly appreciate it. We're trying to increase the landscape for us. So show some love to your favorite fantasy football homeboys. We got a question to answer, 2 questions to answer. First of all, shout out and salute from Atlanta. Appreciate you, Charles. Yo, drop a question if you got it. We here for you. Aiden? You can still say Aiden. It's pretty much an I. The E instead of I. You guys. Should I start? Megan Wilson, Aaron Jones, because Josh Jacobs is out. Give us the format so that we overall can give you best answer on that. Straight up, I would say Aaron Jones. What would you say straight up?
Yeah, I would say Aaron Jones. I can't believe how much we've been on the same page this morning. This has been
it's kind of scary.
It's been ironic. I know.
Kind of scary.
I know.
It's not Black Friday yet, right?
No, it's not. It's not. Like, man, no. Like, we're operating in the same space today. Okay.
Untamed back in the chat, yo. We appreciate you as always, bro. Thanks for showing us the love. Starting 1 full point PPR, Walker, Jawan Jennings, or Travis Kelce. My tight end 1 is Bowers. Give me Travis Kelce. I like the matchup for him today. Talked about that earlier. So give me Travis Kelce. I think there's still a chance that Walker's not going to, like we talked about earlier, is not going to lead the backfield. Yeah. Damn. It's not going to lead the backfield for Seattle in general with him and Charbonnet. And again, this game can get out of hand. And if it does get out of hand, we've seen it go weird as well because we've seen Charbonnet and the George guy, whoever that third string is for Seattle, get freaking a touchdown as well when it comes to late game, shenanigans. So Walker to me is not like we talked about earlier. I mean, John said earlier, it's not a complete locked in play for me. So give me Travis Kelce in a game where talked about earlier, Chiefs pretty much have to have today. No Rodgers. Thoughts on ETN this week? I think ETN is going to find himself still in a situation where splitting carries with him and Tootin. So this is something where I think ETN is definitely startable. If we're talking about DFS, definitely way to get a little bit different if you are kind of stacking up that game, like Johnny talked about earlier. Like if we're stacking up that game and we want to get a little different with Travis Etienne, 5,900 on DraftKings. I'm guessing he's like 64, 65 on FanDuel, right?
I think he's like a cool 7K, I believe.
Oh, wow, it's a cool 7K. Well,
I think
play for sure. Probably not a FanDuel play. I do think this game can go a little bit. We talked about back and forth, and there's some ownership, so there's definitely that. And the questions are piling in. Thank you, people. We appreciate it.
Love it.
What are your thoughts on ETN? Are you in agreement on that, or?
Yeah, I'm playing ETN this week. I don't think there's any. I don't have any hesitations about him in any space, season long or DFS. He's making my DFS GPP rosters. He's, I'm playing him in season long in the few spots that I do have him. I think, this game could be a sneaky shootout. And if it is, Travis Etienne still has big play potential. So give me Etienne. Makes
sense. And then in agreement.
Yeah, with Kelce. Earlier? Yeah, with Kelce. Yeah, same thing. It's literally the same thing. Yeah, same thing.
This is getting scary.
Yep.
This is getting scary. Yep. What do we think about Evans being back for the fantasy playoffs? Someone dropped him, and I picked him up quick to put him in my IR. Yeah, that's a smart move to make. I doubt Evans comes back this season, but from a redraft perspective, look, you can't go wrong with that because if you all, unless you don't have any more injuries coming your way, that's a smart move just to make because worst case scenario, Evans doesn't come back. Best case scenario, he comes back for your week 16, week 17 fantasy football playoffs. And we all know the Bucs still, they're still down when it comes to injuries and stuff like that. So I think it's a smart move to make as long as you don't need your IR spot. That's a brilliant move.
Yeah, I think honestly, agreed. It's the same. Oh yeah, he's 10-1, bro. So he's sitting pretty.
Yeah.
So yeah, the other part of this too for me is by the time week 16 and week 17 gets here, we talked about it a little bit last week. I think it might have been on our waiver show. And I'll continue to keep talking about it. It's man, your rosters get really, really weird starting week 15-ish. They start getting really weird because teams start not playing guys as much. They start making changes for the future and all this other stuff. So maybe Mike Evans, maybe he's there to get ramped up if they make the playoffs. So I don't think it's a terrible idea at all, man.
No, not at all. Especially in a climate where we've had a ton of receiver injuries all year long.
Yeah.
So people are definitely piecing their receiver rooms like crazy. Start two, ETN, Swift, or Judkins. Worried about Tootin, worried the Browns will suck, worried Swift will get vultured as he has the last 2-3 weeks. This is definitely a little tougher. I will say, you know what? I'm a little biased on this one, so it can be Swift. I know he's been vultured and stuff like that, but I think in a game where things can still get a bit more competitive, or if it doesn't, I still think Swift can salt away a game. We've seen that before. And he can do it in multiple avenues. You can do it by rushing, you can do it by receiving. So him and ETN are definitely a little bit more close, but I'd still go with Judkins as well. So Swift and Judkins for me.
Judkins and ETN for me. I just think I think
ETN a little different somewhere.
Yeah, and it's not bad. Right? It's just the fact that I could see a way where the Steelers are able to where they're able to slow the run down for sure. But I also see a world as well where I think this is a place where, like, if you told me the Steelers got out coached, like, and Ben Johnson just got like super creative today and like threw Pittsburgh for a loop, I'd be like, yeah, like I can 1,000% see that. So, but Judkins is absolutely the hammer for both of these lineups for sure. And hey man, glad we could split the atom for you with Judkins and Swift. I mean, ATN and Swift. Sorry.
Oh man, yeah, that's funny. Yeah, all right, going Kelsey, a double tight end this week.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. Yep, go where the volume is.
Yeah.
I'm starting Jacoby in place of Herbert this week. I tried to get rid of AJ Brown, but couldn't. I mean, look, I just traded for AJ Brown, pretty much a straight up for Courtland Sutton in the league I have for a half point PPR. I think that AJ Brown still has upside. So the problem is, can the Eagles get pushed? We'll talk about that in a moment, but I do think that it's not the craziest like scenario to keep AJ Brown. But what are you saying, Johnny, this overall? That you think, I know you have more AJ Brown than I do across leagues.
Yeah.
So you're definitely the expert on this one.
Expert or idiot? Because I think there's a difference. So, anyways, AJ Brown. Yeah, I mean, like, if like again, like, I think it's a spot where like the schedule is supposed to get better for him, and today is like a prime example of what, like, where you would think like he would be able to show up. If you've been able to maintain and you've been able to be even in it halfway at this point with AJ Brown, like, God bless you, Godspeed, brother. Because I tell you what, like, it has been like my man, Rob is like, checking the fantasy, fans classic. I have AJ Brown and I want to read a book because it has been that bad and not watch him. So, like, if you were still relevant, man, like, obviously hold on to it. I think like that's one of the biggest things, man, is like patience in this space. But yeah, like, if you said you wanted to trade him, I wouldn't be mad at you either, man. But yeah,
definitely not. Hey, but he's 10-1, so like 10-1. So
I'm mad at you.
10-1 pretty well.
I'm big. I'm big.
I don't
mad,
even have 10-1 team this year, so
goes to him. Yeah, I'm big mad at you, bro. Big mad.
He's like, big mad.
Big mad.
Haywood's talking about ETN or Wilson. Will Wilson get a chunk of the bulk load of the carries today? I guess that was a little bit more interesting too. I might. Yeah, this kind of displays my cards a little bit. I like Wilson in this spot. I think Minnesota could still. I think Minnesota's going to find ways to keep this thing competitive. But I think with Wilson, it's just it's more about just a volume play here. With ETN, it's like him and Sutton are still somewhat splitting carries. Now it makes me a little nervous. But obviously for a DFS point of view today, like, Wilson's a chalk today, so I'll just take the good chalk in this spot. And go from there. But obviously season longs, like, I think ETN could definitely get there. We've seen it last week against the Chargers, but I think I'm just going to take Wilson if I have to start whoever one. Just go with a little bit of safety here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with ATN. Like, I'm just gonna keep continuing like to ride this out with him here, man. Just kind of just like check it. Huh?
That's fine.
Yeah, like, just continuing like to check it out, right? Like, he's like every game this year so far, man, like he's had at least 12 carries. He's pretty much had like 12 touches at minimum every single game, man. Last 3 weeks, man, he's been riding really hot. RB12, RB13, RB11 against the Raiders, Texans, and Chargers. I just think, like, for what we've seen like happen with running backs that have played against the Arizona Cardinals, I just think like, let's just continue to ride this hot hand with ETN. And I know that's probably part of the problem, Haywood, is you're like, because obviously they're playing the Cards, but you're out here trying to get a dub. I got a sneaky feeling today, man, about the Vikings, bro. Got a sneaky feeling.
Yeah, I think we both do.
Yeah.
And then, so holding on to Worthy and Trey Tucker. Not sure if I should keep Worthy. I think you should, because I think Worthy. We talked about this before the season started. It's like when people were steaming up Worthy up the draft boards and stuff like that. And obviously it was because of Rashid Rice and stuff, but it's like literally like Xavier Worthy like was going to be a piece that you couldn't necessarily go week to week and expect him to be like the ultimate, like, consistent guy in a Kansas City offense. Like, we just kind of knew that coming into the season. So you kind of drafted him with that type of risk. I do think that there's still upside for Worthy. It's it's just Rice and Kelsey, and then he's third on in this thing. And then, granted, if they start running the ball more, obviously with Kareem Hunt and everything, like Worthy's just one of those guys now. He's easily like a wide receiver 3 and 3 receiver formats. You can start every week and then a low end flex. So, what you got to say, Johnny?
Yeah, no, I just think like it's go time for the Chiefs, like we've been talking about. It's go time. And I think like teams, like you're seeing it, like teams are starting to like understand the importance of Rashee Rice and kind of like what he means to the offense. And obviously Travis Kelce's the check down guy, but they still have 2 big play guys on the outside, obviously, in Worthy and Hollywood Brown. So I think like it's all depending on like, and I think there's another element of this too that like, you haven't touched on, or like we haven't even kind of like scratched the surface on, but just the Chiefs rushing game too. Like if it continues to be meh and mundane, I think that's obviously another space too, where you find, try to find a couple of carries or touches for Worthy, like in the short game or, on a reverse or, get really creative as far as Andy Reid goes. So I think there's just more opportunities and better environments than there is for Trey Tucker. So yeah.
Totally. And then thoughts on Stevenson, on keeping Stevenson. I guess we'll find out this week.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess we'll find out this week.
Yeah.
And then like AJ Brown as well. Do you think QJ will ever come back to relevancy? Hard to say. Because look, this banged up offensive line for the Chargers, we kind of see it before they went on bye. Something to be a little bit more concerned about than we were a couple weeks ago. So it's like, you lost both your tackles now. Now you're just, shifting around different pieces. So it's a little bit concerning. But again, with QJ, it's same thing I talked about in the same vein with Worthy almost, but at a lower degree, where it's like he's not the focal point. He's not the secondary piece. Like he's battling for like maybe 3rd or 4th place in this offense now. You know what I'm saying? When I say that, it's Ladd, it's Keenan Allen, it's Aronde Gadsden now. Like, so you're basically fighting for that 4th spot in the offense now. And then when Hampton comes back, like, so I don't think he'll be like as relevant. Can he be one of those guys that later down the stretch he has a ton of upside? Maybe, but it's literally just from a game by game perspective now. He's nowhere near startable on a weekly basis.
Yeah, like he started out obviously as like wide receiver 1-ish, but I think like the one niche that like he has that like the other guys don't. Like you talked about Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's going to play 40 to 50% of snaps. Like that's just what it's going to be. Like he's not playing any more than that right there. Or maybe he does that we're on the back half of the season. So I think there's that. Ladd's the guy obviously in between the 20s. Gadsden, like I think like it's very interesting to see how they will use him or continue to keep using him like in this space. But I think like the one niche that QJ has that the other guys don't is just the red zone piece. Like he's a guy that like they can use in the red zone. So like will he ever be like where he was in week 4? Probably not. I think that's probably ceiling him. So I think you just have to temper your expectations, maybe a flex play, depending on the situation. And again, like I don't want to keep harping on the Jags game, but like as Nick talked about, like the offensive line, for the Chargers, when you think about it, like that's one of the strengths for the Jags is their pass rusher. So it was just like, really bad situation, perfect storm, if you will, for the Chargers. So
word for sure. Thinks Mike is going to win too. We appreciate the sub. We really appreciate that. Please tell all your friends, your family about your favorite fantasy football homeboys. And then Dak or Purdy here. So is it just for this week? Is it rest of season? Would love to know a little bit more about that. If I'm picking between these guys this week, we need Purdy. I think I like Dak. He's been amazing. I do think the Eagles are going to find a way to kind of stifle up this offense a little bit against Dallas. And overall, just we'll see how that goes. But I do like Purdy. I think he has a better matchup on Monday Night Football. He has all of his weapons back. I just think and also rest of the season, like Purdy becomes a little more interesting as well because based on schedule. So I do like Dak Prescott, obviously. I've been staying on business on him all year. So I just don't think this is the spot for him, even at home against this Eagles defense. And we'll talk about that. Eagles Cowboys, we're going to shift right into that right now. We appreciate all the questions, though. We really appreciate it. Like, this has been awesome. We're going to go over the Eagles Cowboys game right now, 4:25 p.m. Eastern time. Eagles are a 3-point favorite going into Dallas to take on the Cowgirls, not the Cowboys. Over under 47.5. Johnny, take over this big game, my guy. What you like?
What do I like about this game, DFS wise? I like a lot about it. I like the fact that nobody's really playing anybody in this game. I like that. I totally like that. I had to do like, yeah, I know. Which this brings me back to last week, and it gives me so many vibes from last week. Yeah, I'm like, okay, like, am I tripping or am I tripping? No, I'm tripping. All right, so George Pickens, 12% on. Devontae Smith, 10% on. Saquon Barkley, projected at 7, but probably will be around 10% by the time kickoff happens. Nobody's playing any of these guys. Like I don't. Nobody is playing any of them, and I'm like, I don't know.
It's 12:20 right now.
I know, and I'm like, what am I missing? So I'm like, okay, and George Pickens, man, like. Need we say more? Like, need we say
what I tell you a couple weeks ago about that Rico Dow George Pickens trade?
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Like, fair. Again, I can't say anything about it. Like at this point, can't say anything about it. Yeah, like until this week, we'll see. But like, I'm playing a lot. Like, I'm playing a lot of him. I'm playing a lot of CD Lamb. Right. So. I'm playing a lot of everybody in this game, honestly. Like, I found ways to like run some, Devontae Smith in this game. I found ways to like, get, Saquon and Dak and Dallas Goedert. Like, I've just found ways, to get really contrarian. Well, not contrarian, but found ways to jam these guys in, and like talked about like some other value picks throughout the show that like I've put in there as far as DFS goes on FanDuel. So like, I like this game, man. 47.5 over under, and like nobody is like, and some of these pieces are relatively expensive. So like, I'll give you that. But like, yeah, even like Dak Prescott, 2% owned. Would you ever think in a world that we would live in where Dak Prescott would be 2% owned and Justin Jefferson would be 2% owned on a slate? Like, that's wild. Like, that's wild. And I'll even do you one better. Saquon Barkley against the Dallas Cowboys defense that has been just bleh all year long. And yeah, I know they got Quentin Williams, I know. But the Dallas Cowboy defense, and you got all these Eagle players under owned in a space where the Cowboys have like that's their MO. That's the reason why like they're sexy as they are, is because this is what America wants to see, is points. And the Cowboys are giving you that. They're giving you points. So like, I'm just kind of dumbfounded as far as like from the ownership side of things. Like, I'm gonna play a lot of Cowboys and a lot of Eagles today is what's happening. So I know like Javonte had a pretty solid game early on. I know Dak didn't really like do a whole lot, but I think there's obviously like a lot has changed at this point as well. So we'll see, man. Like, we'll see how things shake out today. But I think this is a big CD Lamb game too, man. Like, I feel really good about him in this space. I think obviously, as you mentioned, George Pickens and everything that the attention that he's garnered. I could go in a lot of different ways with him. But I will also just kind of point out to you that it was the Las Vegas Raiders. Yeah. It was the Las Vegas Raiders last week, and I'm a George Pickens truther, but yeah, man. Give me the Eagles. I think give me the Eagles in this one right here. Like, I think again, they're a better team, but like, man, 47.5 and like nobody's playing any of these guys today. It's wild and unbeknownst to me. Yes, I said unbeknownst to me, while nobody is playing these guys. So stack it up.
Yep. I mean, look, AJ Brown 5,900. Like, I have a hard time. Just kind of seeing that. No. Yeah, I don't know. Like, that's just tough. Cowboys play 80% zone coverage throughout the year, so this is definitely a Devontae Smith spot. Running 1.4 yards per route run versus zone. So this is definitely a spot for him. Dallas Goedert as well benefits from that too. And, look, Cowboys allow the third highest adjusted completion percentage, 5% higher than Hurts' current percentage right now. So this is a spot for the Eagles. I do think that if we're getting Hurts and or Dak in a spot where it's like very low owned, 6,400 for Dak Prescott. I know the Eagles have been a really good defense when it comes to, especially against the slot, stuff like that. Cooper DeJean has been terrific. So we have to attack these guys on the boundary. That's why George Pickens is going to get a decent matchup against Quinyon Mitchell today. So it's something where, 7,900 for CeeDee Lamb, like, seems a bit pricey, but it's also like, if I can get him and Dak together and then kind of build the rest from there, that's not something out of the ordinary. I just think that there's plenty of ways we can go here in this game. And then Barkley, again, 7,500, like, would it shock us that Barkley finally hits a long run that we haven't really seen much of all year, like in this spot? Like, no. So there's a lot of ways this thing could definitely get a bit out of hand. So I would say, like, get a few pieces of this game along with some other ones, because just get a little bit contrarian. Like, I like stacking up 4 o'clock games at times, just because, when chalk and stuff doesn't hit in the 1 o'clock, what happens? The 4 o'clock games hit, and all of a sudden we're coasting into money land. So, but yeah, as far as the game goes, give me the Eagles, give me the over when it comes to this spot. I think the Eagles know that if they give any type of life to Dallas in this spot, they already know that could mean that, Dallas gives himself a nice little boost of ego for the rest of the season. This is the last time they'll play against each other. So if the Eagles are going to want to really show up and be the team that they have to, they'll slam the door on Dallas and the Cowgirls today. Final game we'll go over, kind of a crap one. Falcons getting 2.5, going on the road to New Orleans, take on the Saints. Saints coming off the bye. The over under 40.5. The last game, the 4 o'clock game. Whatever the amount of caffeine intake you have for the show, Johnny.
Yeah.
Caffeinated consumption.
It's amazing. It's amazing what actual relatively like sleep will do for you. It's amazing.
Oh man. As far as my notes for the game, we all know that Chris Olave coming back in this situation, like, this is a perfect setup for Chris Olave today. Falcons play, single high at a top 6 rate, and they blitz at a top 10 rate. So Olave and Tyler Shuck, they ain't afraid to, Shuck has actually been decent against the blitz. So the Falcons, Falcons doing this really sets up for Chris Olave to be, really good. The other guy that, like, is not, he's probably the cheapest, I think, at all the other, like, same price as Adonai Mitchell, at least on DraftKings, is Devon Bailey, the forgotten guy that played for Denver last year. Brandon Cooks got released this past week. So what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? So he could be the guy that, like, nobody plays today when it comes to, like, lower ownership and stuff and trying to get a little bit contrarian, at least trying to save some salary. So you can definitely go there. He's still playing a ton of routes too. Like, this is something I might bite on today, possibly. But then, my boy Juwan Johnson out here as well. So there's a ton to like for the New Orleans side of this matchup. As far as the other side of this matchup, no Drake London. We got Bijan Robinson in this mix. You hope he gets 30 carries, but would it shock you if your Tyler Algier get 15 of those? And it's really just more of a split. Algier is our star, blah, blah, blah. Raheem Morris about to get fired soon, da-da-da.
Listen, told
this,
you, right?
this game doesn't have any, like, playoff implications, nothing like that. So I don't know. Kirk Cousins obviously starting today. Like, I don't know, man. Everything in my brain is pointing to the Saints, but everything inside is pointing to Atlanta. So give me Atlanta. What are you saying?
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna take the Saints. Like, I'm gonna take the Saints. Like, I'm gonna take the Saints. Like, I just think, like, yeah, like, they're a mess. Like, the Falcons are literally a mess right now. They are a mess, and, like, Kyle Pitts is very chalky today. Like, I, kind of looking at everything last night and kind of getting everything lined up. I'm like, Kirk Cousins and Kyle Pitts, like, that didn't go so well. So, like, why is it gonna go now when everything is probably worse than it was last year? Like, so no, I think I'll pass. Oh yeah, there's Darnell Mooney. Yeah, I think I'll pass. I think Bijan could help. Like, he could definitely get there on volume alone.
Right.
I think, like, we know that, and now, like, you know, like we know what the plan is now for the Falcons. Like it's the plan that it should have been all year long is, you know, find a way to get this man 20 to 25 touches for sure. But I do think like you are going to see the Falcons. You should see the Falcons, I should say, lean on the run game with Bijan and Algier. And no, man, listen, you know, I hate it for everybody that's Bijan, you know, fantasy managers when Algier gets in the game and scores a touchdown or does anything. But I think it could be like at a place where like they're starting to kind of like, I don't know if it's like full blown, like blow this thing up mode, but I do think like now, like there's more of a sense of panic for the Falcons than ever in Raheem Morris, because now it's like, well, you made, I think it was a crazy stat I seen. It's like something like the Falcons are, man, they have like top 10 skill players, top 10 draft picks at like they're had at all of their skill positions, or top 12 or top 15, something with Pitts, London, Bijan, and Penix. And like they're still finding a way to lose, and they're still finding a way to like for this thing to go sideways. So the Saints, like I think like again, like you talk about players that like nobody's talking about or touching. What about Alvin Kamara? What about Alvin Kamara in a situation like this where the Falcons are a mess right now? Like the Saints are playing at home. Like Tyler Shuck's got a couple more, you know, games under his belt. You know, I don't hate it. Like I think like especially like on FanDuel when you look at his price tag, there's definitely ways. I don't want to say to get different, but there's ways that like when you look at the players that again are around that price tag for him, you could definitely make a case to say Alvin Kamara, right? Like you could say 6,100 Alvin Kamara. You could do a lot worse, especially like, and I mean, I feel like his ownership is probably going to go up anyway because it's a 4:00 game, and as you mentioned, like typically what happens with like a lot of people is, you know, when they look at their team and they see like it's kind of like shitty, they're like, oh my god, like now like I got to make a move to like, you know, the best, you know, the best player that's available. When really you should really be trying to move to like a player that like no one is actually playing to gain leverage. But so yeah, so I like the Saints in this spot, man. Tyler Shuck actually he almost made my pool of quarterbacks today, just kind of you know, to what Rick was talking about a little bit earlier on, is like, you know, there's a way that you can kind of, I don't want to say jam, but you can get some of these other high-end players at wide receiver, at running back in your, you know, your skill positions. You can get them in your lineup and get to a guy like Tyler Shuck and get to a guy like Jameis Winston, right? And there's some easy pieces that you can move to get like a little mini stack going in some of these spots. So pass catches for the Falcons, shit. There's going to be this one guy. He's going to be lined up at wide receiver out there today. Number 10, Johnny Marable. He's going to be out there at wide receiver today playing. So get him in your DFS lineups. That's really about the equivalent of what they got out there for pass catches, man. So,
I love it.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad for them, bro. It's bad.
They got the jersey, my man. All right.
Yeah.
All right, man. Cool. So, all right. Well, that gives all the breakdown. So now 12:30. All right. Wow. What a show, people.
I know.
What a show.
I know.
Pat yourself in the back, Johnny.
Yeah, it's been a good one, man. It's been a good one for sure.
We got the Knicks prop shop. We're 61% still on the year. Feeling it. Had some bad breaks happen this past week. Fortunately, we're still 61% of the year. Core 4 bets for week 12 as follows. Take these for what you will. But these are bets that pretty much solidify, like just putting a stamp on. And then I'll have some other bets for y'all as well. I even got a little special for y'all weigh in. So first one is Aaron Jones over 2.5 catches, like we talked about, going back to Green Bay. Wants to give it to these guys. Again, JJ McCarthy has been a quarterback that's just been really just checking things down. Hasn't been firing things off consistently. So give me Aaron Jones in this spot where this is very doable for Aaron Jones in this spot. Travis Kelce, 60 receiving yards or more. I've seen 58.5, whatever. There's a little bit plus money there, which I was able to take with Travis Kelce. Please do so. The Colts in this spot against tight ends, they've literally been the go-to spot for them. They're allowing the second most yards in the league to tight ends. Like I talked about earlier, has averaged 70 receiving yards to tight ends on the year for yardage. So yeah, give me Travis Kelce here in this spot where, again, do or die for Kansas City, I think, in this spot today at home. Zay Flowers over 63.5 receiving yards. Jets against wide receiver ones been allowing a ton of yardage to them. So that goes back to even Jerry Jeudy. So like Zay Flowers in this spot, this should be easy for them to at least, Zay Flowers should at least get to this line close to halftime potentially. So I like that. Roma Dunze, it feels like everybody's on Roma Dunze today when it comes to this spot. So the 50.5 is too low for Roma Dunze. Expect him to come out against, again, the Steelers defense that, allow a ton of yardage to boundary receivers, a great matchup for boundary receivers today. So that could be should be Roma Dunze, but will I be surprised to see JJ Moore? No, not at all. Jacoby Brissett over 247 passing yards. He's been a flamethrower all since he's been starting. So why stop here against a Jags defense that, once again, bend but don't break defense. They're a more optimistic defenses than anything else. I think in a back and forth game where I talked about both offenses being top 2 in pace, like this only helps the passing in this game. Amon-Ra St. Brown over 77.5 receiving yards. Look, talked about it earlier. Giants against them, obviously Lions against man coverage. Jared Goff and Amon-Ra eat against man coverage. They have that chemistry going. This should be an easy spot. I even like Amon-Ra over 100 yards receiving in this spot just because of how everything lines up today. Your boy Jonathan Taylor over 19.5 receiving yards. This is a spot where the checkdowns should be there because Kansas City, they're going to try to bring blitzes. They're going to try to disguise things with Jonathan Taylor, especially against the run. They're better run defense than they are passing defense. So Jonathan Taylor, he's been really sneaky when it comes to receiving yards among running backs this season. So this line is obviously is more of a gimme than anything else. So I like this spot for Jonathan Taylor when it comes to receiving game, especially if the Colts can't get their run game going early on. Derrick Henry, over 87.5 rushing yards. You already know what it is. Derrick Henry out here going to be balling out. Could easily take 100 here if you want. I just think that with the Ravens here, despite at home against the Jets, like they should be handling business. Lamar Jackson, we talked about earlier, doesn't seem like he's still like 100% healthy. So give me Derrick Henry where we know he could break one big run, and all of a sudden like we're easily hitting the prop just like it happened last week. Last but not least, my guy Haywood. Cedric Tillman over 20.5 receiving yards. Love this spot. Tillman is one of those guys in a game where this could get a little hairy. Shador should find Tillman pretty easily in this spot. Him, Fannin, stuff like that. Should already have a little bit of chemistry with Tillman, obviously already because of the offseason and stuff. So this line's just way too low for Cedric Tillman. And he easily hit this spot last week against a better Ravens defense. So we all know the Raiders, they're more susceptible to the slot than the outer boundary, but this 20.5 is too low for Cedric Tillman. So shout out UT. So that does it for the props section of this week. We got overall come back before we'll break down the Sunday Night Football matchup between the Bucs and the Rams. Johnny, any final thoughts before we let the people go?
Yeah, man. Like you said, shout out you too, man. Last night I got to hang out and play a game that my youngest daughter created, and I kicked everybody's butt and watched the Vols just absolutely dog walk the Gators. So that was like,
a game?
Yeah, she made a game. It was pretty sick. Yeah. It's like, all right, name people from dad's work, name people from mom's work, classroom, wrestlers, movies. We had a great time. It was great. It was great. And then in the background, I was just watching, the Vols just absolutely crushed the Gators. So it was a great night in that respect. If you're in the Scott Fish Bowl playoffs, man, like good luck to you for sure. Best wishes to everybody out there in that space. And, good luck to everybody. You guys can all do great, just not better than me. If I'm playing you, wish you good luck. Hope you come in second place.
That's the guy 3-1 against all year. 1-3 against me all year. Got that little victory last week, bro. Look, if you're facing me, good luck.
Hey man, we still in house show. It's Monday Night Raw time, man. We're getting a premium events here pretty soon. So
don't worry, we sure will. I'm sure we'll be talking about it as well. But yeah, 7:30 Eastern. Be back here with your favorite fantasy football homeboys, breaking down the 1 p.m., 4 p.m. slate of games. And we'll see y'all then. Peace.